بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. مرحبا بالجميع. So my name is Mahmoud Sikaly. I'm internal medicine resident at SUNY Downstate, and we will continue our series, The US Path. In the last lecture, we talked about the general system about the United States. Today, we will talk about how we can reach there and what's the requirement. So these are like outlines of our lecture. We will start like when to start and what do you actually need like in order to match here in the United States. We will end up like talking a little bit about the requirement, which is the USMLEs, the US clinical experience, and the others such as research, connection, and professionalism. Okay, so the first question is that when should I start? This journey is long, so the earlier you start, the better. So my advice is that to start as early as possible, and first year it's not too early. It's actually good. Like if you can start early during your first year, it's good. But at the same time, is that like starting after graduation, it's not too late. Actually, in my case, I started pursuing the U.S. Experience or the U.S. Pathway like around 2 years after graduation. So the earlier you start, the better. But like don't lose hope. And optimally, like this is the optimal, is that you finish step 1 by the end of step 3, year 3 or year 4, step 2 by 6th year, and you have some clinical experience in between, and after graduation immediately you apply. So you will save time and effort, and this is the optimal thing. But to be realistic, most of us will need like 1 or 2 years after graduation in order to apply and match. That's like the usual case. But if you can done it by this way, you could save like 2 years, and this is great. Now, what do you need? So, like the essential one is that you need the steps with high scores. For us as IMGs, most of the time the first thing they look at is your scores. You like it or not, this is what happened. The second thing, you need some sort of US clinical experience, very essential, and we will talk about it. And then like the extras such as research, extracurricular activity, and to be a fresh graduate, and connection, professionalism, all of these stuff. But on top of that, you need like your steps with high scores. You need like some new certificate, US clinical experience, and you need these things as well. Okay, so now we will talk about each requirement, and we will begin with the USMLE, which stands for the United States Medical License Exam. Before going that, we will talk a little bit about the ECFMG, which is Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduate. This is our sponsor as IMGs. It will be like responsible for us during the whole process, to start with the registration, taking the steps, applying, and after that when you work also you will work with them from the beginning till the end you will be dealing with the ECFMG. And actually a nice thing that you can go now to their website and register and have a profile there as a symbolic thing that you started the journey. They don't need any money or any complex requirements. It's just you can go there to their website and register there, and this is it remains that it's simplified that you started this journey and keep you motivated a little bit. Now we can talk about the steps, which is the USMLE. What's the point behind this exam? So people coming from all around the world, they will have different systems. And in order for here the authorities in the United States to ensure that these peoples meet a minimum criteria, they put the USMLE. So it's just measure minimal requirement in order for you like to be able to work in the United States. The other thing is that we need something to compare all of these applicants with each other. Applicants from outside and inside, we need something more of objective, so they end up like getting this exam for like to compare the applicant with each other. It's 3 steps. Step 1 is covering the basic science. Step 2, which is 2 parts, the CK clinical knowledge is about the clinical years, and the CS is the practical exam, which is much similar to the OSCE exam. And after you finish these 2, you will get your certificate, and then you can apply and match and work with that. There is one more step, it's called step 3, and this you need to finish it before you end your residency. So you can take it after graduation and before the end of your residency. This is the like the timeline. Anywhere you can take it any time during this period, but most of us ended up like doing it before starting the residency, just to get finish of that before like you will get too busy during your residency. I would say these exams is it's in general it's a nice experience. It's force you like to have a good general background, because like most of our like education you will study microbiology alone, pathology alone, physiology, and then anatomy, all of this like separate. But in USMLE you have to study all of them at the same time, and you need like to make connection between them, and this like can give you a good background in medicine. And the second thing is that like give you a nice study skills, like how to manage your time, how to deal with the questions, and how to deal with different situation like in a short time, which is good. But they need a lot of preparation, a lot of time. It takes time and effort. Now I will talk like how can I prepare in general. I will not get like too detailed in this, but like I'm saying in general, you need the 3 things. The first thing is your study material. The second thing is the questions, practice or questions banks, and the third thing is the assessment exams. So in the next few slides, I will talk about each one in detail. To begin with, the study material, it give you this study material is give you the general idea and your background. It's very important. You have like many options available, because like it's a large business, so you will have many available options like Kaplan's, Doctor in Training, Board Review Series, Bathoma, Sketchy, like many resources you will have in order to prepare like for the exams. And one thing is that like use them early, like even while you are studying in your medical school, start using these resources, because this step, it will take most of the time. Most of the time you will spend doing like studying the study material and giving you like the background. So if you can start early while you are in medical school, this will be great. It will help you save a lot of time. Yeah, and as I have said, there's many, like it's a large business, you will have many options. So while you are picking your resources, make sure is that you don't spend too much time searching for the perfect resource, and like compare resources with each other, and like jumping from one to another. uh, this it will consume a lot of time, and instead of doing that, like you just spend too much time doing this and not actually like studying. This is this wastes a lot of time. And the other thing is that like getting too deep while you are studying for the steps. So like the idea, or like the general idea behind the study material, is to give you like good background, general background. um, so like any of the resources available, like it will cover the main points. There will be like minor differences between the different resources. So like anyone you will pick, it will be good enough. Pick the one like you like or like you feel comfortable doing that, but then like don't put too much effort in deciding which one to use. Just like use anyone and go with it. And the other thing is just like don't get too deep. Like I don't think like studying from reference resources or studying from textbook is a good idea for this exam, because like it's the material covers like it's a huge, it's like the whole 3 years you are like you are trying to study that and giving it in one exam. So if you end up like studying all of these textbooks, so you will spend too much time. At the end of the day, you will remember not like you will remember very little, and you will not cover the main points which is covered in the exams. So it's not very wise to do that, in my opinion. The other thing is that you need to supply the study resources with the questions. It's very important. It's help you understand the material, review it, and like solidify your knowledge. And one important thing is that to get used to the exam style. The main point of the exam, it's not like to get a good knowledge. Uh, they don't care too much about your knowledge, how much you know. Is that how much you score. So you need to have this knowledge, and also like you need to know how you can deal with the questions in order to score high, and the question help you to build this skill. It's a skill you can learn it and develop it with time. So how like it's one way to use the resources is that while you are studying the study material, you use the questions in order to just like understand the material, review it, solidify it, and solidify your knowledge. And then after you finish, you pick another source, another exam question bank, or the same question bank in mixed mode. In mixed mode is that like you pick questions from all the topics, from anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, um, microbiology, all like you can get all of them like in next to each other, not like only like question from one topic, because the exams will not be like this. It will not like ask you questions only in the anatomy or only in the physiology. No, it will pick up questions from all around the study material, and will give it like next to each other. So it's good to get used to that. And what's the most common one? It's UWord. UWord is the best, like by far, it's the best resource to prepare, and you could supply it with other resources such as Kaplan, and I guess like not Osmosis. There is another source you can use it as well. Yeah, okay. The third thing is the NBME self-assessment test. NBME is National Board for Medical Exam, National Board for Medical Exam. This organization, it's the same organization that put the USMLE questions. They also have another thing, it's called the self-assessment. From what from the name, it's help assess your knowledge before going to the USMLE. It's very essential, very important. But unfortunately, most of the time we use it in not in an optimal way. So how we use it, like most of the international medical graduate, how we use it is that we wait till the end after we finish studying, and we use them only like to predict how much we score before the exam. But the better way is that you use it very early in your journey. So you will use it early. Like why is that? So it help you like give you an idea on where you stand. Like are you like very good? So you just like need like 1 or 2 months and you will be ready to do the exam, or you're in the middle, so you need more time like 4 or 5 months, or like you are not like doing so great, so you need like probably 6 months or so in order to be able to do the exam. So it will give you your baseline. The second thing, which is also important, is give you your strength and your weak point. So like the exam will tell you that you are strong in the cardiovascular, you are strong in the GI, but you are weak in the maybe like microbiology, or you are weak in the neurology. So instead of spending the same time on all of these resources, you will end like a wise way or a better way is like to spend more time on the weak point and less time on your strength point, so you can reach your goal faster. And the third thing is that like you track your progress. So for example, you scored like this level at the beginning of your preparation, and after 2 months you scored higher, so you know like you are in a good direction. But if you score the same or less, so at this point you know that like there is something wrong. I need to change something about my study plan. And this is like just like waiting like full 6 months, just like to realize that you are like not like studying in a correct way, and you will up like spend like wasting this all of this period for nothing. No, you have to be very efficient with your time. And very like efficient and how you study, and like and to understand how you can score like reach your goal in like in the most efficient way, because like you can spend years like studying to these exams, and this is not very like very smart or very logic, but you should like utilize your time in a smart way. And this is one example of how is the score is. It's like there's many pages as well, so it gives you an idea. Is this is a borderline, this lower performance, higher performance, and these are the different topics. So it gives you, if you are in the microbiology, you scored here, it means you are weak, you need to spend more time here. If you are like in the pharmacology, you scored here, so you are good, you don't have to spend too much time in this topic, and like work from there. And also like actually that's a good thing is that to understand how this what's all of this mean. There's like some videos explain everything about this and how to understand this. So if it is like the bar is very short, so there is more precision in estimating your score. If it is too big, so your score could be anywhere, so it's not very precise, your knowledge is not very like sharp. If it is this much, is that it's more precise and it gives you more information as well. This is in general, so now I will go over by like step by step, and so we can cover it. Step one is the basic knowledge, as we have said. It's your first 3 years, and now it is a pass and fail exam. Like previously it was a numerical score, so you score like 250, 220, 270. Now it's all either like you pass or fail. Is it good or bad to the IMGs? Mostly they are saying it's bad for us as an international medical graduate, because you like it or not, the first thing they look at it is your like score, and we as IMGs we tend to score higher, and this give us like a better advantage. Now it's pass and fail, so we might lose this advantage, but it is what it is. You have to deal with that. And for the material for your study, like your for your background, there is many resources like Doctor in Training, Kaplan, Bathoma. So for me, I use like Kaplan it was for the physiology, it was good. Pharma, it was good, and actually in anatomy it was good as well. But like in microbiology it wasn't so great, and also in pathology it wasn't so great as well. Bathoma is a good resource as well. Okay, with that there is the first aid, which is very essential. Because like even like when you use like a summarized resources to study for your steps, it will have like too much information. You need something like it can summarize all of these stuff together, which is your first aid. It's very essential, so you can use it and start like adding notes from the other resources to this book. And for the questions, it's your word. It's very one of the like top resources to prepare as well. And as we have said, the NBME, your self-assessment, use them early. So you can choose whatever study material you like, but these are the essentials like the first aid, UWord, and NBME. Mm, and it help you give like a good score. But if you want to score very high, you need like an extra material, which is that your study material. You do more of the questions, you study for a longer period, but like in general include these 1, 2, 3 resources in your study plan. Now for step 2, so because like step 1 now it's a pass fail, nowadays will be there more focus on this exam, and so yeah, they will look more about these exams and how much do you score here. So for the material in general, there is many concepts from step 1, so it's recommended that you take it after your step 1. So for your like baseline, actually like there was one source is called on mid online online mid ed. It's like online lectures with also a PDF version as well. It's very nice. Like it's very nice to prepare for step 2. And for the questions, UWord, like by far the most important resource is UWord, very essential, and most of the time it will be the only thing that you use to prepare for the exam, and the NBME as well. Like you need to prepare for this. So like you can like choose again, like you can choose whatever study plan you like you feel comfortable, but in my opinion like online mid-ed is very great. Add UWord to it and also NBME, and it's preferred to take it after step 1. Now for the CS, all of these exams you can take it almost like in all countries, like Egypt, Jordan, nearby countries. But for the CS, you have to travel to the state. It's only done in the state, and it's very similar to the OSCE. So you go see the patient, take history, do physical examination, um, counsel them, like, and then you write your notes, including your differential. What do you think it's going on with the patient, and what's the next step for you? Like, what kind of investigation do you want to lie, and what kind of medication that you are gonna to do. And usually it takes around like 1 month to prepare for this exam, not too much time. But because like the system is different from our systems, like the US system, and how to do all of this stuff is different from our system, it's very recommended is that like you take some sort of US clinical experience before doing these exams. It helps you a lot, like build your confidence, improve your English, and like how to go through all of these stuff, how to go through them. Yeah, so it's advised that you take some sort of US clinical experience before doing this exam. So just like to recap, you can go online. Yeah, like one more thing is that now the CS, because of the COVID situation, it's on hold. So they replace it with English exam. And they are saying that we are studying the future of this exam, whether like we will keep it as it is, or we will change it, or even like cancel it. So you need like to keep an eye on what's going on this, what their decision. But nowadays it's still on hold because of the COVID situation. So in general is that you can go online through Facebooks or websites. There is like great resources or many study experiences that you can go and look at it and how to prepare. But make sure it's at the end of the day it's individualized. You don't have to stick with any of these. You can just like make your own study plan, while keeping in mind don't go too crazy about what's the perfect plan and the perfect resources. Just like pick any one of these and stick with it, and like include the main things that we talked about, the like first aid, UWorld, MBME, this kind of stuff, and like don't go too crazy about like jumping from one source to another. The other thing is that concentrate on general idea, don't get lost to details, like don't study like big textbook for the exams, it won't help too much. And use the questions and self-assessment very early on in your journey, this is very important. uh, okay, so now we will continue. We already talked about the first requirement, which is the steps. Now we will be talking about the second thing, which is the US clinical experience. Um, so there is multiple type of the US clinical experience. I mean US clinical experience that you spend sometimes in the United States while working there in an academic or in a hospital setting. So there is multiple types. You can do an elective while you are in the medical school. It's usually this is hands-on. So they let you like meet with the patients, take history, do physical exam, and all of this stuff. And there is something called the externship, which is similar to the elective, but it's done after finishing the medical school. There is also observership, where you just like observe uh, and be in the hospital just seeing what's going on, and there is also a research. So um, having a US clinical experience is very essential and very important in order to match here in the United States. It has multiple benefits. It's the first one is that uh, get you to familiarize with the system here, and break the mental barrier is that okay, you work with them and you just like know they are like this system is good, but like it's also like you can work there. It's not something from like the outer space. This is the first thing. The other thing is that you can improve your English language, and you can like speak more fluently. And at that point, you start building like relationship and connection that will benefit you later on when you are trying to apply. Most of the time, if you did elective at one space and afterward when you apply to that space, it's uh, highly valued that you done an elective in their hospital. That will benefit you much. So it's and most of the programs when you apply, they look like very positively to the fact that you done some sort of USL clinical experience before going there. And also one more important point is that you can get an recommendation letters. So if you worked with a physician there while you are doing an elective or an externship or an observership, afterward you can ask him for an like recommendation letter when you apply, and this is very essential as well. So doing a US clinical experience help you to familiarize with the system, improve your English, and also build relationship and get recommendation letter, and all of that will benefit you when you apply later during the match. It's not easy to get this US clinical experience. You need to put a lot of effort and money as well, but it's totally worth it to do that. And it's much better to do it while you are in the medical school. So like you can apply for an elective, the visa process will be easier, and you will save time when you do it at medical school. Later on, it will like stuff become more difficult after graduation. So, how I can get, we know it's very important, but like how can I get a US clinical experience? This is the difficult question. So there is some universities there like offer it for a fee, Usually it's a high fee. And there is also like some commercial organization that can manage you to give you an elective for also a fee. But there is like some easier options that you can just like email physicians, um, like in different universities, in different workplaces. Actually, like you don't have to do it in a university like hospital. You can also do it in a community hospital, and you just like email everyone here and there till you get a response from one of them to shadow them while you are in the medical school or later on. This is like I guess like one of the most common way to get a US clinical experience. You just like email others, doctors working there, and asking them to shadow them while you are in a practice. And you need like to spend some times doing that. Like it can be like time consuming, and you need to spend some time and effort doing this. There's also another option is called Visiting a Student Learning Opportunity, VSLO. This is a collaboration between Medical School, International Medical School, and the US Medical School in one system. And like the US Medical School and the International School both elective here. So they offer elective through this system. And if you're a medical school part of this organization, you could apply to the opportunity available in this system. But as I've said, your medical school have to be there. And I guess like it's feasible. At one point, the Islamic University was part of this like organization, but I don't know how is it right now. But like if you are interested, you could work with your medical school in order to be part of this organization. This is their website. And there's some good resources is that you can go to Facebook groups. There is Facebook groups, especially for the US clinical experience, and there is some like plenty of experiences how they can manage to get that, and what's the available schools or universities or hospitals that offer this. You can have a look there. Another thing is that there is a website called elective.us. It's an outdated resources, but it's like a great start that give you information about the different type of US clinical experience, what are the requirement to apply, and how you can start. But the different option where you are to apply, I guess like this is a bit outdated, so you can start here and go to the other resources as well. And also I included some resources in this link. I will attach it to this video as well, where there is it give a list of the medical school or places that offer some sort of US clinical experience, so you can go there and email them and ask for an opportunity. And one more time, it needs some effort, but it's totally worth it. It's very essential for you to match. Yeah, it makes life much easier. You can apply without US clinical experience, and you could match as well. But like having a US clinical experience, in my opinion, is very important. So now, how about research? So it's usually after finishing medical school, you just like send emails to academic personnels in universities like around the United States, and ask them to work with them as in a research, and it's usually like on a J1 visa, and it's usually unpaid. Uh, this is also like a good way to get to introduce to the US system, and build a relationship and get a recommendation letter. But the down point is that you have to spend about 1 year doing research, and mostly it's unpaid, so you have to spend some money while there. But it's not a bad idea. One point I have to emphasize is that you having a US clinical experience is very essential, but doing research it's not. So when they accept you to the residency, they don't expect from you to be like a big researcher or know everything about the research and how to do research, but they recommend at least some sort of US clinical experience that make sure that you can fit in the team and like do the job. Yeah. So we spoke about the steps, we spoke about the US clinical experience. Now the other stuff that you can add to your profile to make you more competitive. The other thing is that the first thing you can like have some hobbies, because as I have said, doing the steps and reaching the United States, that's a long process and you will need like too much effort to do that. You need something beside this. It's just like to vent out and relax while you are doing that. And the other thing is that you have something to talk about with the other people. So most of the time it's how to start conversation with others, and hobbies is one of the things that you can like start a conversation with other peoples, or with the people who are like interviewing you for the residency or for a research work. Is that like they can talk about the hobbies, is like a good like icebreaker between you and them. The other thing is the volunteer work. They value that as well. If you have a volunteer in your country or outside, or you did like do some worked with some organization, or like anything, you can add it as well, and it's also like a valued there. The other thing is that professionalism is very important. So at the end of the day, they need someone who can fit within a team, and they know like he can fit there and get the job done. They don't want someone like who is like isolated, or it's very difficult to work with him or her. So like things like hobbies, volunteer work, and if he has like professionalism, if he showed the professionalism during the interview or during his like previous work, either in research or as an elective, they know that when we accept this guy, he will be like is a good asset, and he will not make much trouble. So it's always show respect. Don't interrupt other people while they are talking. Be a good team member, and show that you are someone who can fit in the team. We don't like need like a genius who cannot like work with a team. No, always show that you can fit within a team. And also one of the important things is that the connections. The more connection you have, the better your chances to get interviews and to get match. But this is something you can build with time. So when you go to the US, do some sort of US clinical experience, you start building your connection, and get with that you can get recommendation letters as well. And this is also very essential. Now I'm including some resources, so you can go to the ECFMG website and take a look, and from that you can like start registering from online applicant status and information system. You can go and apply and create your profile on the ACFMG. And this website is for USMLE. You can go there and have a look about what's their announcement, any new news about the exams, and the different things about the application and the fees and the exam content and all of these stuff. Now, in the next lecture, inshallah, we will talk about the visa and how we can manage to get it, and the other stuff related to the Gaza situation. And I will be answering any questions that I have received for the last two lectures. And please, if you have any questions, just like put it as a comment to this video or to this post, and I will try my best to answer it in the next question, so like everyone can benefit from that as well. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully I will see you soon.